This is the Marshall JCM800 SC20H amp head, 20 watts, switchable down to 5, and it's an absolute beast made in the UK. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, folks. My name's Shane. You were listening to this. This is the Marshall SC20H amplifier head, the JCM800. It's part of the Studio Classic range, and this thing is an absolute monster. So one of the first things you'll probably notice about it is how simplistic it is. We only have one channel, so we have two volume controls. One is a preamp and one is the master output. This amp sings once you crank up the master, so turn it up loud and it will sound great. We get a 3-band EQ with also a presence control. As you can see, they're all kind of linked on this line, so kind of like a 4-band EQ. For my ear though, you don't really need a whole lot of presence with this amp. It could just be also the fact that I'm running it with Celestion 7080s over here as well. But overall, it's a monster sounding amplifier. Let's check out the back. In terms of the power amp section, we get two EL34s and the preamp valves are ECC 83s. As you can see also, we get an FX loop, which is great. We're going to try this with some reverb. You turn it on and off this way. Now there's no foot switch to be able to turn that on and off, so it's either on or off that way. Most people will probably run this in the 4-cable method by having their sort of loop effects on the floor as well as the actual preamp effects, but you can just run a reverb or whatever into that. We'll get into this in the video. Now we also get a DI out for direct recording, and then we also get a whole range of different outputs to different speaker cabinets. My Marshall box back here is 8 ohms, so I'm going to be using one of these. It doesn't matter which one because it's 8 ohms, just a single one, and I'm good to go. A huge thanks to Sky Music here in Melbourne, Australia for letting me borrow this. I really appreciate it. If you want to find out more about this amp, I'll leave some links in the description below. Let's get into it. Let's kick it off. I've got the amp running through my Marshall 2x12 box. It's loaded with two 7080 speakers from Celestion, mic'd up with a Rode M3 and also an SN57. I'm playing my Gibson Flying V. We're going to start with the amp in low power mode, which is still extremely loud. I can't believe how loud it is. I've got my sound pressure level meter on the floor, so I'll give you a rough idea of how loud it actually is at a distance of about a meter. So here we go. This is neck pickup. Peaking at about 111 dB, which is pretty loud. So over to bridge, let's give this a shot. Yeah. And now with the preamp cranked, let's give this a shot on bridge pickup. Man, it sounds great. Over to neck pickup, but this time I'm going to click on the Nursey volume boost pedal. So this is just a clean booster. Let's give this a shot with it off to start with. Oh man, that's so much louder too. 118 decibels. Far out. Let's go over to full volume. Over to the full 20 watt mode on the amplifier now, and I've just turned the preamp gain down and the volume is up. It's still got a bit of dirt on there, but it's cleaner than it was. And now with some reverb, thanks to the Anasound spring reverb going through the FX Loop. Reverb. This amp doesn't have reverb, so that's pretty nice, at least to my ear. Let's try it now with a Maxon Overdrive OD808 on. Picking at about 117 decibels, which is a lot louder than before. So what I've done, I've just turned the Tubescreamer off. Let's crank it up even more. Preamp gain up to about 6 on the dial. Earplugs should be in, but you know what? I don't have any. I don't know about you, but I reckon this amp doesn't need pedals. It sort of sounds better without them. Just crank up the gain and you're good to go. So let's try that same setting now with my volume control down. So as you can hear, it responds really well to your volume control on the guitar. If you turn down, it cleans up nicely. Let's try that now, just with the Citek Nursey, the volume boost pedal. So this is with it off. Man, the cops are gonna get called. Holy crap, it's loud. I've just changed the EQ slightly, but one thing I've done is I've turned the master pretty much all the way up. There's a fair bit of white noise coming through. I'm not sure if you can hear it over my voice right now, but this should sound pretty cool. We're just gonna play some chords, but I'm gonna start with my volume control down on the bridge pickup. lastly, let's see how plug and play this amp is. I've changed guitars over to my Fender Mexican Standard Stratocaster. This is all stock. I've left the amp exactly the same. We're gonna start on neck and middle pickup. Here we go. Man, oh man, far out. Thanks for watching, guys. My name's Shane. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and also click the bell. Let me know what you think of the tones of this on the recording. In the room, it sounded huge. So what are my overall thoughts about this amplifier head? It's built well. It's just a great tone. What can I tell you? The tones are awesome. It's maybe a little brighter than I would usually dial in, but it works really, really well. And that's that classic JCM800 sound. It's got a lot of tops. I didn't really feel the need to adjust the presence control any higher. Even with humbuckers, it was just bright. So yeah, look, everyone's got their own particular flavor of sound that they might want to dial in with this, but for me, that worked extremely well. It's still maybe slightly brighter than I would go for if I was playing live, but you know what? It's nothing you can't compensate just by turning back the treble or the presence control just that little bit more. I love the fact it's got an FX loop as well. The only downside to the FX loop is you can't kind of switch it on and off with an external foot switch. There's no option for that. So whatever you put into it's either on or off, depending on how you want to run your FX board or FX loop, I should say, as well. Some people will opt to just put something in the FX loop and leave it on the entire time, or you might want to do a 4-cable method where you're running basically your preamp pedals or overdrives into the front end, and then you've got your other effects on the floor like reverb and delay that you might want to run through the FX loop, and you can just simply turn them on and off that way. So that will work. So it's no real disadvantage. It's just one of those things. My DSL-40, for example, I can run something through the FX loop and use a Marshall foot switch and turn that on and off that way, but that doesn't have that option, so just be aware of that. Now, is this a good home practice amp on the low power settings? No, at least not through my rig. It might be better through a smaller speaker box, but it was still blisteringly loud. It's just so much louder than any low watt amp or 5 watt amp I've had a chance to play in recent times. It almost feels like 5 watts is more like 15. It is really loud, so just keep that in mind. It's got a lot of power. I really like it. I think it sounds great. I love the fact you don't need pedals, or if you choose to use pedals, just use a volume boost in front of it, and then you get more sustain and more volume, and it just sings. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the tone. A huge thanks again to Sky Music for letting me borrow this. Like I said, if you want to find out more about it, no matter where you live, I'll leave some links in the description as well, so you can check those out. I shot this video over the course of 2 days. So the first day I just had a chance to set it up and have a quick play, and I was like, this is great. Today I did the full part of the review video, and I was like, man, the more I play this, the more I like it. Gas. It is really, really cool. Like I said, build quality wise, it's great, and just the sound quality is what it's all about, and I got to give them the thumbs up. Marshall making great amps. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all soon. See ya.